Hi and welcome to Drumming Solo, the channel where we let the drummer speak. In this episode, we're talking to Micheál Quinn, currently on the road with Dermot Kennedy. Give us a like, a subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you can be notified of future videos. So, Micheál, thanks for doing this today. You just got off stage at Boardmasters. How was that for you on this very rainy, very cold day?
It was great. I loved it. Yeah. The crowd was class. And when the weather's like that, you're kind of relying on them to do a bit of like, we're still in this with you. And so, yeah, it was a buzz. And then my sound, of all things, my sound was really good today. I feel like it's been kind of wandering for a bit. And today I was really digging it. So it was fun. Nice. Yeah.
So how did you start with music in your life? Did you have a musical household, musical family, musical upbringing?
Yeah, my mum, well, my nana, she played the organ in her local church down the country, and she was a piano teacher in the school. And then her dad was like the leader of the band in the town, back like way back in the 20s, I guess.
Okay.
And he was a drummer, so it was always kind of, he played everything, but he was a drummer, but it was in the family. And then my mum was a flute player, so she had us, me and my brother, going to piano lessons. We did that for a few years, and then she's like, right, now you're going to pick like a different instrument. We're going to go like not just the piano. So in my head, I was like, I'm playing the guitar. The guitar's going to be sick. One day I'll do guitar solos. All these ideas in my head. And of all instruments, the school didn't teach guitar. So my mum handed me a pamphlet and was like, pick a different instrument. And I was just like, drums. I'll do the drums. So. Yeah. And that was kind of that. My first lesson, I was like, oh, this is it. This is me.
So were lessons you then just constantly doing?
Today, up till now. I did lessons like just outside school. Then I went to college or university. Yeah, I went to university, did music there, and I had a teacher the whole way up to the end of that. And then now I get lessons off Dave Village over in LA. So I'm just like, I love getting lessons. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, because you're just like, oh, I didn't know how to do that. And yeah, I love it.
Cool. So was it because you met Dermot at school, was it? Or was it?
Yeah, we met at university as well. We were 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we sat down beside each other in choir. And he was just like, what do you do? I was like, I play the drums. And he was like, I sing. And he sent me some of his music. And I was just like, that voice is, that's it. That's the one. This is going to happen at some point or other. But yeah, we've known each other for like, however many, 14 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what sort of stuff were you listening to growing up? Were you...
Oh, everything. Like my dad is mad into music. So from like 6 years old, I was listening to Alice Cooper and Thin Lizzy and Led Zeppelin. And then I started getting into Jean-Michel Jarre and Massive Attack through him as well.
Okay.
He was into everything, so I was into everything, like from radio pop, like the Sugar Babes and Spice Girls and stuff, through Eminem, through all that stuff, all the way to Iron Maiden and like everything. And
did you play along to all these songs?
Oh, everything.
And just
every
style?
Because remember back when you had iPods and you had everything on your iPod?
Yeah.
Every bit of music I had, I was like, right, I'll play this, I'll play this. So there was never something that was like, this is it. It was just always loads of stuff.
Nice. So early drumming influences? Or was it just...
Do you remember that video? Steve Gadd, Dave Weckl and Vinny Colaiuta? Vinny. On the Buddy Rich Memorial.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say
that was my like...
Day, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched that like just religiously as a kid. And then you had like John Bonham and Keith Moon. They were two big... Did
you go deep and like study and it's like, right, how does he do those triplet bass drums, or was that put on you by the teacher and they suggested?
With Bonham, I never started learning his stuff until much later, because I just liked listening to Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
But then I loved it. Was like I wasn't like calm enough to learn all John Bonham stuff, so I was following Keith Moon and Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins and learning all their stuff. And it was much later I came back to John Bonham and I had the sense to like understand the like, oh, this is the good stuff. Now when I was younger, it was a lot of much wilder things. Yeah. Yeah.
So first proper band you got into, was that Enemies, or was there...
That I played with?
Yes.
Oh, I was like, I got into Enemies. Which is the first... I was 16 and I was in a band with my mates. And 12. My drum teacher when I was 12 he taught bass and guitar.
Okay.
So he got a bunch of us together and we recorded Stuck in the Middle with You. And that was the first experience I had of being in a band, because he made us pretend like we were in a band. So he made us hang out,
Okay.
and then we'd go in and record. And I was like, oh, this is the best. This is such a cool way to be.
Yeah.
So then from that age, I was just constantly like dragging friends over to my house to start bands, just constant.
And then after that, because you've obviously done Enemies, well, MeltyBrains, you've done a fair few. Well, I was listening to Enemies earlier on today, and it's like the time signatures and stuff in there. I mean, that must have been great fun.
Oh, it's the
because
best.
it was just so I just love listening to interesting drum parts in interesting time signatures, and you were just like ticking these boxes. I'm like, because I know you've obviously got your two hi-hats on your kit and your stacks and stuff like that, and was that the sort of first time you really pushed yourself to some extent?
Do you know there's an Irish band called And So I Watch You From Afar, and their drummer Chris Wee, he was just this, like, well, still is this tank of a drummer, but he was the first guy I came across odd time signatures where I copped that it was odd time signatures.
Yeah.
So there was a song called what was it, Clench Fist Grit Teeth, and I think it's 6 and 9 or something.
Okay.
And I was just like, how's he making that feel good? Like, what is this? So I became obsessed with it. Then Enemies had a drummer prior to me as well. This just glorious, beautiful drummer, Usheen. And he was coming up all these parts that then I had to learn and pick apart. And then when it was my turn to be in the band, at this point I was so obsessed with like odd time signatures, metric modulation, all that like nerdy stuff. And I just find ways to get it into the music, because the guys in the band, they didn't count. They didn't know time signatures keys. They were just playing it. So it'd be on me to be like, all right, we're going from this. Okay, now we're in 6/8. Now we're doing a 4 over that thing. And they'd all just like, what are you talking about?
So did you just learn it, or did you have your own way of charting it out?
Just learning it, listening. Yeah.
Is that the best way for you to learn stuff?
When I was younger, I used to love charting stuff out. I got such a kick out of like, it took me a while. I don't think I was very good at it, but I got a great kick out of figuring out a part, writing it, and then just reading it and playing it by sight. I loved that. But then the last, like, I don't know, 5 or 6, probably longer, 7 or 8 years, it just hasn't come up. It hasn't been a thing I've needed to go near, so I don't go near it. Now I just learn by, I'll pick a bar, learn the bar, add the second bar, learn that, add the third bar, learn that, and I just slowly build it. So by the time you've 16 bars in, you've spent ages on the 15 bars. So the 16 bar, like, oh, this is fine at this point.
Cool.
But yeah, I love nerding out. Do you know Locked in a Basement by Mark Juliana?
Well,
it's the crazy kick drum pattern song.
Oh, okay. His bass drum work is just...
And this one is all about the bass drum.
I need to listen to.
Yeah, because the hi-hats and snare just... But the kick is just... It's like, I think it's a 16 or 32 bar phrase of mad syncopation stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I live for, as like when I sit down with my earphones and I'm doing stuff, I'm like, how confused can I get? And then how much can I wrap into that thing? Like, okay, I know what I'm doing here now.
Yeah.
I love that headspace.
Cool. And so... was MeltyBrains the next thing that you sort of...
So MeltyBrains started the same time as I started playing with Dermot, because we were all in college together.
Okay.
So MeltyBrains is just me and my crazy mates. And
I was going to say, you need to just describe MeltyBrains.
There's no way.
I've got no chance.
No, you have to see MeltyBrains live for it to make sense, because it's so dense and it's so consuming that once you have the light show and you have us going nuts in front of you, it all starts to click. When you're listening to it, it's like, it's psychedelic, but like kind of sloppy, but then a bit aggro. It's everything.
Yeah.
I think it's tropical.
There's no way I was going to try and describe MeltyBrains, so I thought I'd leave that to you.
But MeltyBrains is a great outlet for me, because it's entirely my project with the guys. Like, we all started together.
Yeah.
So the drums are my call. But those guys most of them are really sick DJs and into great dance music. So they're constantly teaching me stuff about drums that I'd never find from watching drummers play. And then that band gives us outlet to be like, all right, we can take some stuff drummers aren't normally going with.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a lot of fun.
So is your kit with MeltyBrains a lot different to your Dermot kit?
Yeah.
Or have you got... I must have that. I need that, and I need that.
No, with MeltyBrains, I love keeping the attitude of whatever I have, I work with.
Okay.
So at home, I have a Slingerland. It's a 70s kit, and it's just gorgeous. But it's a kick, rack, floor tom, and snare. Whereas the Dermot one, there's like loads of stuff everywhere. But MeltyBrains, I go in on the cymbals, loads of stacks and all that.
Yeah.
But it's just a standard kit usually. Sometimes I put a second snare, but I'm not as precious. With the Dermot show, it's like laser focused. Everything's almost measured out, and I'm like, if I close my eyes and I go like this, I know it's going to touch the bell. Whereas MeltyBrains, I'm like, oh, I don't know where this is going. Yeah.
And is there much electronic paddage? Is that even a word? Electronic paddage around your MeltyBrains kit? Because you've obviously got...
There's loads in this one.
Yeah.
There is and there isn't. Again, sometimes I go for it, and other times I'm like, I just want to play the drums.
Yeah.
And because I'm the drummer and I'm making those calls, the guys are happy to trust me with it. So some nights it'll be huge electronic kicks and stuff, and then other nights it's just like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Cool.
Often based on if I have, it often comes down to if I have enough jack leads and I'm willing to make the effort to set it up. And a lot of the times like, oh, I don't have enough leads and I couldn't be bothered. Yeah. So I'm like, just play the drums. Because it's all gotten so hybrid now, and it's so in that world. To then be in this heavily electronic sounding band, but with just an acoustic kit, it's a nice thing to do, I think. Yeah, I just like doing it.
Yeah. And then obviously we've just heard you do a set with Dermot. Do you get a bit of freedom with those parts, or do you try to replicate what's on the records? No,
yes and no. Like, there are parts when I'm like, this is clearly the part, I have to get it in. But then once we go off on tour, I kind of let it develop, and Dermot's into that because we get each other and know each other for so long. He trusts where I'm going to go with it. So say at the start, when we're in rehearsals the first time, I'll be learning the parts. I'm like, right, that's the kick pattern, that's where everything's going, the hi-hats. But then after a few shows, you're kind of like, oh, Kieran's kind of leaning this way with that, so I'll start changing the bass drum.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's like I have an A, B, and a C for pretty much every section in the whole show.
Okay.
And you just sort of wander in between them because you have it solid, so you know what's going to happen. But you have a choice of like, which way am I feeling tonight? And then sometimes I just throw it out and I'm like, right, well, let's try this thing. And it's great to have the space to do that on quite a regimented gig, to have the room to kind of just express yourself.
Is the whole gig on click?
Yeah, from start to finish. Now, it's each song individually and a few of them are joined.
Yeah.
But I like to, and I've brought the guys on the journey with me, of flirting with the click.
Okay.
Where some nights you want it where you don't hear the click, you're so locked in, and then other nights you want to be swaying, where you can just feel the room be like, we don't need to be this rigid right now. So it's a fun gig for that. And Dermot's a legend about it. He's just kind of... do you think?
And your kit, we need to talk about your kit. Because it's gradually got bigger, as we talked about earlier on. You went from 1 floor tom to 2 floor toms, to no rack tom to having a rack tom, adding a second snare. So drum-wise, obviously, it's a Sonor. Is it a...
It's an SQ2.
SQ2.
Yeah, so it's all medium maple shells. 12 by 8, 14 by 16, 16 by 16. Then the Benny Greb snare, the birch or beech? I can never remember.
Beech with an outer ply of birch.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
That could be why I'm tripping up. We'll use that as my excuse. Yeah. That, and then the SQ1 snare, which is gorgeous. It's so warm and different to the rest of the kit. It has a much different sort of atmosphere to it.
Yeah.
The kick is 22 by 17 because I didn't want an 18 because it's too much of a cannon kind of thing. But then I didn't feel like going smaller. And then I saw Benny Greb had the 17 inches. I was like, if it's good enough for him, then I'll do that. And I love it because you get that kind of punchy cannon sound or feeling, but then it's still tight.
Yeah.
And then I have a DW 9000 kick pedal, and then it's all Sonor hardware apart from that.
Yeah.
And
then cymbal-wise, you've got a couple of stacks.
So I have it's all Sabian. I have an AAX on top of 2 mini Chinas, I think.
Is it the AX Ozone?
That is what it is, yeah. So that's on the left. Then we have the click hats, 14-inch, 9-inch nano hats. So that little trio works as a little, like...
Yeah, with your tambourine you've got there as well. It's
just, yeah. And it's the LP... What tambourine is it? It's the LP one with the gold ringlets on it.
Is it brass?
Or are they
I
brass?
think brass.
It's
yeah.
real nice looking, but it's the nicest sounding tambourine. It's really soft.
Yeah.
Because we've had a few other ones, and I get real nerdy and pernickety, but I also don't. But when it comes to the tambourine, I'm like, no, it has to be that tambourine. Yeah, it just sits beautifully.
Yeah.
Then an 18-inch HHX ozone.
Yeah.
We've a Legacy 22-inch ride at the moment. I've often had an artisan.
Right. So yeah, I saw this on your other sort of kit walkthroughs, because I use that for, jazz and pop and stuff. And you're literally using it as a crash, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I'm there going, I don't do that to mine.
Yeah, but it can take it.
Yeah, completely.
It really, once you get it moving with you, it really just sings and opens up. And then the bell on it is gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do feel bad sometimes. I look down and I'm like, that's not what this is for. This isn't for me.
That wasn't the primary design for that cymbal.
Yeah, but at the moment, so we had to get a replacement one. And we just didn't get it in time, and the Legacy showed up. But I love the bell in the Legacy.
Is it the heavy ride or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Only because we did Woody from Bastille.
Okay, is he going?
A couple of weeks ago, and his I'm never changing this cymbal was the 22 Legacy heavy ride.
Okay.
And he has it up high and crashes on it a fair bit. But again,
that one takes a big crash.
It's got a great bell as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
And then we have an 18-inch HH crash.
Yeah.
And it's really small, but I was watching Matt Helder's a couple of weekends ago, and I often like a big crash in my hand, so I like to be laying in.
Yeah.
But I was watching him, and he's one of my favorite drummers, and he had like a 16-inch maybe. And
Really?
he just like, and I was like, that's so cool. Like, how's he making that work?
Yeah.
So then I was like, Steve, let's get a 16-inch or 18 maybe and swap it out. And I've been loving it.
Yeah.
It sounds so nice. It's like quite a grounded cymbal. It's not like explosive. It's just like whoosh.
And is that because you've broken all the Legacy
Yeah.
ones that Sabian ever made?
The Ozone Legacies were the greatest crash cymbal ever.
Yeah.
But they didn't last.
No.
They didn't last under my sticks.
And then you got another stack.
Oh, I do.
Underneath that.
I don't think I used that at all tonight.
No, I didn't see what it was, but I saw it was.
It's a HH 22-inch. I'm not sure what, and then an AAX Ozone on top. But the HH is cracked. I think it's from Steve's.
Oh, is it?
And it's in a song.
So you're breaking other people's cymbals.
Yeah.
Send me a cymbal.
Steve is too good to me. Steve is too nice.
I'm never lending you a cymbal.
No, that's the thing amongst all my drummer friends in Dublin. There was a point where I was like, don't give me all your stuff. Like, it'll come back broken. Cool. I don't mean to, though. Yeah. It just sort of seems to happen.
But it's a very physical. You go from a whisper, rim shots and stuff, and then you're just literally laying into it full.
Yeah, you're up there.
I mean, we were watching it from behind. It was just incredible to watch. And I was tired watching it.
I get worn out. I
don't know how many bottles of Lucozade Sport you went through.
I made a Lucozade Sport and Haribo. That just gets me through it. Yeah.
Okay. And sticks, you're still on the
Buddy Rich's.
Buddy Rich.
Yeah. Although Dave, drum teacher Dave, is telling me to stop using them because he's like, you're just chewing through them. You need like proper sticks.
Yeah.
But I just love them. I love that they're white. I love that the taper doesn't have an edge on it.
Molds into one.
Yeah. There's something really aesthetically pleasing about it. So I often joke, if the day ever came where Vic Firth like, do you want to do a stick? I'd be like, yes, make the Buddy Rich stick, and then we'll just put a stamp on the bottom of it. But I love it.
Cool. That's enough gear talk. Your solo album and your other projects, because you obviously art is a very big thing for you as well. All the merch.
I'm just making stuff. Yeah, it's like I was just a doodler as a kid. I doodled in everything, in all the different things I did, and I just seemed to take that into adulthood.
And is that your main sort of thing away from music? Is that art?
Oh yeah. It's a toss up between music and art.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just to do whatever I get drawn towards. So sometimes it'd be big mural graffiti things, other times it'd be clothes, other times it's just drawing and stuff. But I have this, I just like to get myself out onto paper and things. Yeah. And it's quite different from music, but it's doing the same thing. You're just expressing yourself.
Yeah.
So I like to have as many outlets for that as possible.
So is that how the solo album came about? Because was that...
That was just me arsing about on Ableton.
Yeah.
Because I liked making music, but it wasn't for anything. It was just for myself to chill to. And then one day I was like, wait a minute, I have like an album's worth of stuff here.
So you did everything on the album?
The whole thing, yeah.
The whole thing starts
But there's only one drum on it. There's one drum fill in one song. The rest is all electronic stuff and samples.
Have to go in there.
You gotta go find
out which one that is.
But yeah, I've started working on a bunch of other music then, but it'll be different from that. But I'd say the same vein, because it's still me making it. But I do that, and then I have all my buddies' stuff that I just... it's all very kind of chaotic and random, because this is so regimented that everything's just, when I feel like it, I'll do it, and I'll... Yeah.
You've been so busy with this over the summer. I mean, now that I think you've got a couple of weeks before another show, and then a couple of weeks, and then you're off to, is it
Canada for
and
a couple of weeks?
Australia and places like that.
Yeah.
And then is that 2023?
That's it. We started in February and we'll finish December 10th, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And then what have you got planned for after that?
Nothing.
Do you look that far ahead and think, right, that finishes then, I need to start working on the next thing, whether it be music, art?
Do you know what I think I do? I think I just, all the little bits and pieces I do with stuff, it's all bubbling, so that then when time comes off, I just sort of let whichever one wants to come up. But I have enough plans and things that I don't need to plan it out very much. I'm like, I have a few things I can work on.
Yeah.
So no pressure, just focus on this, do this, and then come out the other side. And there'll be a recovery period for a while just to get over it.
Yeah.
Because it's so intense. And then, no, I don't have a plan.
No,
this is the plan.
See where it goes.
Yeah.
Thanks ever so much for that, mate.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having us on the bus.
Yeah.
And enjoy the rest of your time in rainy Cornwall.
Yeah, I'll go surf.
Go surf.
Yeah.
Cool. Cheers, buddy. Thanks.
Nice one.